Today's breaking news edition of the Cowboys Report is made possible by Roan. Get 20% off your order by going over to roan.com/chatsports and using code CHATSPORTS. Tell you more about them later on in today's show. But the Cowboys have added some defensive end help. KJ Henry, who was a draft pick by the Commanders last year, had been claimed by the Bengals off of waivers, was then on their practice squad. He is now making another move as he's been moving around a lot as of late. The Cowboys signing him to their active roster. This will require a corresponding roster move. We'll get into that. Seems pretty obvious it's going to be DeMarcus Lawrence going to IR. But after Jerry Jones had said, we're probably not going to trade for anybody, we'll look for some guys off practice squads, it's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys do. And they poached one of the 5 players we had mentioned. I guess it was 6. I cheated to put 2 guys on there. On our replacements list, Henry was on there as a former draft pick of the Commanders, now on the Bengals. Now, this is actually the second video of the day. The Cowboys screwed us again and did a roster move a minute after a previous video went out. So, I don't think we're going to get a push notification on this video. So, I need your help to make it worth our while. Share this video on social media. There's also some confusion going on about why it's a 2-year contract for KJ Henry. I will break that down in today's video so we can help educate people there too. Share today's video for me on social media. Help me feed my family. Henry was a 5th-round pick by the Commanders in the 2023 draft class. He then spent the 2023 campaign on the roster, played quite a few games. He never lived up to the 5-star hype expectations that were attached with him. He did not make the Commanders roster in 2024, ironically because they had guys like Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong there. He was claimed off of waivers by the Bengals. He played 2 games for them, had been waived on September 17th because they didn't have any healthy defensive tackles, was then signed to the practice squad pretty quickly, and now jumps as a chance to join the Cowboys' active roster, potentially for the remainder of the season. Here were Henry's stats in the 2023 campaign. 10 games played for the former 5-star recruit out of Clemson. 4 TFLs, a sack and a half, 2 pass breakups, is also very much worth mentioning. Even though he's only played all 10 snaps this year and got 1 pressure. He had 10 pressures on 155 snaps for the Commanders. That's not a great ratio necessarily. This is somebody the coaching staff knows well. At least one member, Jeff Scanina, your defensive line coach, coached KJ Henry last year in Washington. So there is that semblance of familiarity that in theory makes the adjustment period a little bit quicker. This is the pinned comment on today's show. 1 word and 1 word only to the signing of KJ Henry. What is your 1-word reaction? Let me know at the pinned comment if the ad comes here on YouTube. Feels very meh, but it is what it is. Now, the news was broken by Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. The Cowboys are signing Henry to a 2-year deal. And I see this every single time the Cowboys, it's at least once a year. The reason why it is a 2-year deal is the same reason why undrafted free agents are a 3-year deal. If you signed KJ Henry to a 1-year deal, it would have been a 2-year deal anyway. It doesn't matter. There's no extra guaranteed money going into this, but the Cowboys already maintain his contractual rights. That doesn't change at all. He doesn't have enough accrued seasons to reach free agency. He would be an exclusive rights free agent. So the Cowboys just skip that part and go, it's fine. We'll just pick up the 2-year deal on the exact same cost with no signing bonus stuff involved. It's just technicalities. That is all it is. It does not mean they're suddenly viewing KJ Henry as a huge part of your team for 2+ years. Wow, so committed to him. No. It's just how the contracts work. That's how it operates. There's nothing to really read into there at all. The Cowboys always do this. Most teams do it. It's just not always reported. So do not read into it being a 2-year deal instead of a 1-year deal. If Henry had enough accrued seasons, it would have been a 1-year deal. He doesn't. So they're just getting that all prepped in advance because of the way the contracts work. They're going to have the exclusive rights. Doesn't change anything from a money standpoint either. Now, today's show is made possible by Roan. Roan's got something for every occasion, and I love their polos. It's my favorite one that I own. They've got pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos, and blazers. They look great as individual pieces and also work seamlessly together. Mobility is everything when it comes to Roan. It's got this signature 4-way stretch fabric. It's breathable, flexible, and works everywhere from your commute to work to dinner, drinks, the golf course, at least for the polos as well. So go check out the Commuter Collection because it can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/chatsports and use code ChatSports. Save 20% off your entire order. That is 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/chatsports and use code ChatSports to get that 20% off. Find your corner office comfort. Upgrade your closet with Roan with the comment section and the description having that link and promo code available for you. It is not the most appealing move ever. It's a depth piece. He had 1 pressure in his 2 games played, 10 snaps total against the Bengals when he got some pressure on Patrick Mahomes. This was a former 5-star recruit, though, who does have athletic ability. He is now listed at 255. His combine numbers were 251. The straight line speed is very impressive. 4.63 40-yard dash, solid arm length. These are all the combine numbers from our buddy Mathbomb on Twitter. The vert and the broad were iffy, passable size as a pass rusher. And simply put, you needed depth. You needed bodies. Now, I do wonder if this is a comment on the concerns over Carl Lawson, who has 1 more practice squad call up. I had assumed they were going to call him up for the practice squad and sign somebody else to the practice squad. Dallas kind of playing some games there. So this week, I still think there's a good chance you end up seeing Carl Lawson called up from the practice squad to join Marshawn Nealon, Chauncey Golston, KJ Henry, probably some Tyrus Wheat as well. That would give you 5 defensive ends, and the Cowboys, you're down Micah and Tank, who normally play for you. Henry's 1 fill-in. Wouldn't be surprised if Lawson's another, and they don't bother with Tyrus Wheat again, who seems like more of a special teamer than anything else. But you needed bodies. It is not Hassan Reddick. It is not the same level of impact. It's also probably cheaper than that as well. So it is much cheaper there. Now, grade the signing of KJ Henry. A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. As we often do when the Cowboys sign somebody that nobody really knows too much about, consult the draft rankings. Coming out of Clemson, I had KJ as my number 153 overall player, a 4th, 5th round grade, which is exactly where he went. He went to the back end of the top end of the 5th round, kind of early in that standing there. My number 23 ranked edge. His dad was a longtime college football coach. He was a 5-star recruit. He never lived up to those expectations. Had 3.5 sacks, 4 sacks, 3.5 sacks, better pressures as his career went on. There is special teams value. He did a decent amount of that at Clemson, even for a 5-star guy. High energy players. I consult my draft notes here. He is an older prospect. Was a bit of a late bloomer as well. Bit of a 1-year wonder. I think he was more straight line than bend. But you needed bodies. And clearly someone the Cowboys probably had a decent grade on coming out of Clemson. Now, as teased, the Cowboys will need to make a corresponding roster move here. They will need to open up a spot on the active 53. And the obvious one that we all expect is to just put DeMarcus Lawrence on injured reserve. And then you can call up Carl Lawson on the practice squad and then make a decision on him next week if you need to. But Lawrence going to IR certainly makes a lot of sense because he's going to miss time. I would put, I got the Micah over-under at like after the bye week. The Tank over-under might be like after Thanksgiving. That might be the better over-under on that front because he's going to miss some time there. The injured reserve makes so much sense for him. So Cowboys making moves. It's not the move many of us want, but it does provide some depth there in KJ Henry, the former 5th-round pick out of Clemson, was on the Commanders last year, Bengals practice squad this year, as they did something. It's just not the something many of us had hoped for.